guys, and we're back. We stood up like our EMT told us to. So, we had to do some stretching and hooping, hollering. But alright. Alright, guys, well, we're going to go into crafting now. We'll go into each one of these professions. They're not that big. And then we're going to go into the actual one little video and then gathering, processing, crafting them individually. So, but we're not going to repeat ourselves. So if it's a part that we've already read, then we'll just move on down the road. All right, Misty.
We just skip. All right, so for crafting. Crafting is one of the artisan classes in Ashes. It is the driving force for the game economy. Crafting requires the acquisition of recipes in order to craft items. Crafting stations are located on freeholds or within nodes. Higher tier crafting stations are unlocked with node progression. There will not be labor or energy system in Ashes of Creation. So I'll just read that. There is no labor or energy system in Ashes. However, that's not to say that crafting will not be difficult. Crafting is very difficult, but it is because it is difficult that it will be very rewarding as well.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so BDO, there won't be actual energy. Plain and simple.
Thank God.
Right.
So crafting professions: alchemy, armor smithing, blacksmithing, carpentry, cooking, jewel crafting, scribes, shipbuilding, siege weapons, and weaponsmithing.
I do like how, like, like the taming and then animal husbandry, shipbuilding, like I don't know, like they're not, like those are kind of oddballs as far as like, professions go. Like shipbuilding, you would think it would just be, everyone can build a ship, like on BDO, right? But you actually, to build ships in this, you actually have to be a shipbuilder. So, yeah. But going into alchemy here, guys. I'll go through these, make them quick. So potions are consumable in Ashes of Creation, of course. Growth potions may be in the game. I hope they are. List of potions. So Apocalypse isn't a thing. So you have health, mount potion, and small health potion. Potion launchers, they were in Apocalypse, but it doesn't look like it's not finalized for the actual game. Potion launchers in Apocalypse are able to shoot over walls and other obstacles. So I mean, I could see them bringing this back, launchers, as far as when you're doing sieges and stuff, because you could
they're like, basically like Molotov cocktails.
Yeah, that's what I would say as far as that goes. Armor smithing, take a quick look here. Nothing on there. But I will pull this up because, like I said, I love the detail they have on these armor. I mean, just the layering and actually how it looks like it's leather laid upon leather, and the metal's actually like attached to it. So it's cool. I like that a lot.
It's probably some of the most realistic looking clothing that I've seen.
Yeah.
BDO has very intricate clothing, but it's not as realistic.
Yeah. So blacksmithing. So there's a little bit here. So of course there will be blacksmiths are a type of building. So forges, of course, type of building, furnaces. I think we already did crafting items. Oh, no, I guess not. So crafting items. Crafting items will be on par with best in slot items. So that's cool. So well, Missy, let me ask you that. So I know that's kind of a thing. Do you like that someone could actually craft the best gear in the game?
Well, it won't just be one person. People that choose to do that
will be able to. Well, I mean, just the ability to, like, it's like, normal conception of, if you want the best gear in the game, you need to do the hardest content in the game. Like you need to do mythics, for example. Mythic rating gives you the best or you craft it. Like, do you like that? I mean, to me, I think I did here, and I'll probably read a little further down. It probably says it but you still need to go into that raid, kill the hardest boss to get an item to even craft that gear. If that's how it is, would you find that acceptable?
That's a hard call. It depends. I think it will be necessary in this game more so than in other games, since I may have to throw down and PvP with someone else, and I would like to have better armor and weapons in order to defend myself if I'm mining a node that someone else wants.
Yeah.
So, because I don't enjoy mythic raiding and don't want to be a mythic raider, in a normal game, would I need that type of armor? Probably not. In this game, yeah, I might need that armor. With caravan sieges and everybody attacking me or attacking my caravans or something else, then I think you're pretty much going to want to be as well equipped with weapons and armor as you can be.
Yeah. Now let me ask you.
So should that have to be mythic raiding to do it? I would hope not.
So let me ask you this. So being that the raids that we've seen in this game thus far was like the big dragon, there didn't really seem to be mechanics like a 1, 2, 3 mechanic. Like oh, there's swirls on the ground, get out of the swirls. The boss is about to do this attack. It was just kind of like a free for all.
They have mechanics, but they don't look like they're repeatable. You still had to watch stuff on the ground, but it seemed random.
Yeah. So being it's my question is, or my statement and then question to you is, do you find yourself actually doing the harder content in this game, because it is not like Final Fantasy or World of Warcraft where you have to have a lot of structure to get it down?
I think it might be a little bit easier because nobody's going to have it memorized because
there's nothing to memorize.
It's not repeatable. Yeah. So it's just got to stay on your toes. There are not repeatable mechanics. So it might be a little better because nobody's going to ace it.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's going to be a different sort of type of rating.
Right. Yeah.
So I might do it, and I might not.
Yeah. Who knows?
I'll
be breeding bears. That's what I'll be doing.
I know. I'm like, Brad, you want to come raid? It'll all of a sudden switch. You won't want to raid. I'll want to raid, but you'll be too busy. Nah, I'm too busy, breeding.
Right, breeding bears. See. Yeah. So highest tier items will be a combo of both crafted and boss dropped. Crafters will be able to assign different skills, abilities, and stats on gear. Master crafters will be able to influence several but not all stats on their crafted items. The rarity of the items will be
commensurate,
and these big words today, with the effort required to gather, process, and craft the items. Stats on crafted items will be based on the item's rarity. Crafters are able to influence what their crafted item looks like, so that's pretty cool. At the moment, harnessing corruption to warp items into demonic or decaying things is not in the cards. A crafter's name is embedded in the items they craft. That's pretty cool. Skills and stats on gear, which the whole crafter's name embedded on that. There's going to be because that's just how it is. Someone's going to be called just Cheeseburger. And you're going to have Cheeseburger on your gear. Cheeseburger made my chess piece. Yeah. Hopefully.
That would be lame.
It would be. When I see those, like, cheeseburger toast, and I'm just like, I don't know. It's people, They need more imagination just than that. But skills and stats on gear. Crafters will be able to assign different skills, abilities, and stats on gear, as we said. Mastercrafters will be able to influence several, but not all, stats on the crafted items. We said that. Stats and crafted items will vary based on the rarity. There will also be methods of moving stat blocks around, but this won't necessarily be an easy task. All gear will be available to assign any stat. Gear is broken down into core stats and additional stats. So it said all gear will be able to be assigned to any stat. So that's cool. So I guess that's how if you wanted to be a plate wearing mage, you could still be a plate wearing mage because it'll have all your right stats on it. So that is pretty cool. I like having that customability. So
Like if I want mine with crit, I'm not going to have random. Well, no, you have to have verse on this.
yeah.
No, you can get crit.
Yeah, so you should be able to do that. An item creation suite will allow crafters to create unique appearances for items, has been discussed as a future possibility. So that's pretty cool. It's all pretty cool.
Okay,
yeah.
so it says here crafters will be able to rejigger stat blocks. Crafters do it.
Yes.
So am I going to have to like talk to crafters then? And talk to other people and say, okay, look I need this, but I need these stats on it, please.
Yes, you will have to be sociable. Oh, Caitlin, Sarah, how's it going? I think it's your friend Missy.
Hey, Caitlin. Hi, Caitlin.
We'll have to.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Move back on.
So I guess we'll have to be able to do that. All right.
Let's see here. Carpentry.
Thanks for popping in.
Yeah. Like I said, we'll have to talk one day in general chat, or maybe after we're done here. Okay, so carpentry here. So I'll go into this. So carpentry furniture making is a crafting profession as creation. Quality furniture is able to be crafted in-game based on the skill of the craftsperson. Furnishing items will be in-game functionality will be restricted entirely to those created by the carpentry profession. Crafted furniture may contain bonuses based on the quality and grade of the furniture. For example, a cook using a higher grade stovetop will be able to craft food items with improved stats such as increased freshness period. That's pretty cool. Some Among Us and Dead by Daylight with friends. Well, there you go.
Okay. Among Us. Oh, geez.
Well, go snap some necks for us if you want. That'll, I think someone actually clipped when Missy actually snapped my neck. It was kind of rude. Yeah.
Well, it had to be done. You were being cocky, so I had to do it.
Oh, I plan to. Yep. Well, thanks for stopping by, Caitlin. I will say we'll have to definitely play some. I told Missy you guys need to play some games together on here. So, especially if I'm not around.
Well, I'm looking at Dead by Daylight. I got to check that out because they do have like a Silent Hill version. So.
Yeah.
So it's my favorite game.
Take a look at it. So furniture, as you guys know. So beds, cabinets, chairs, chests, desks, dressers, shelves, stoves, and tables. And to reiterate, so it says if you make a really good stovetop and you cook on it, then you'll actually have higher grade foods. So that's pretty cool. And the freshness period actually is better too.
Ooh. While I have Caitlin here. Caitlin, Dead by Daylight, is that just like a single player RPG?
Let's see. So housing decorations. Players may decorate their player housing and other types of buildings. Houses will be empty when purchased.
4 people. Okay.
Yep. Players will be able to upgrade to pre-furnished sets when they purchase their home. Pre-furnished sets will be almost entirely visual and authentic. Only items crafted by the carpentry profession will have in-game functionality. Players may place furniture, artwork, paintings, and other decor in their player housing. Items may be placed in locations that are suitable for that item. For example, statues may only be placed in exterior locations of freeholds and static housing. Each size of player-owned housing determines how many decor items can be placed in it. Yep. This is almost sounding like Final Fantasy, like somebody's been playing Final Fantasy 14. Let's see here.
Oh, and BDO. BDO does the same thing too.
Yeah, and yeah, definitely BDO. There's a lot of BDO in this game.
More so than anything, I think.
Yeah. Prize items such as achievements and trophies may be displayed. Characters will be able to interact with furniture items such as sit in chairs and lay in beds. Players will not be able to alter structural aspects such as windows and walls. Quality furniture can be crafted in-game based on the skill of craftsperson. Furnishing items with in-game functionality will be restricted entirely to those created by the carpentry profession. So housing designs, player housing designs and decorations are retained and can be placed again later if the housing is destroyed during a node siege. Blueprints are mailed to the player to utilize for future placement. Destroyed freeholds are subject to material loss. Certificates will track major milestones such as furnaces and homesteads, for example. A possible design idea is for items such as furnishings to be boxed in crates that are accessible inside the new home.
Yeah, I like that better.
Right. And we'll kind of just go through these little pictures here real quick. So you can see how like elaborate these. So it's like inside of a bedroom right there in a house. This is outside one of your freeholds.
Click on the one with the aqua colored furniture. Click on that. Make that big. Look at Steven's portrait in the background.
Oh, yeah, I see that.
I clicked on it and went, oh my god, that's funny.
That is pretty funny. Alright, so that was carpentry. I think we already talked about cooking, jewel crafting. Jewel crafting we'll take a look at. We'll see here. That's pretty, yeah. So jewel crafting, of course. So Quarter-Wars is a cosmetic pet and a pre-order pack. Quarter-Wars are able to be domesticated and used for freehold farms to gather gemstones from the ground using their long tongues. These gems suffice in the creature's shell, or suffuse, yeah, where they can be removed by their owners. Removing the gems also the warrior to continue to eat.
Warrior. It's like a warrior. Warrior.
There are 16 gear slots in Ash's Creation, 8 armor slots, 5 jewelry slots, 2 weapon slots, and 1 range slot. Okay. That's like a little guy right there. He's just a little guy.
Yeah.
He's a little guy. Alright, so that was jewel crafting. Scribes.
Okay, I'll take over scribes.
You got scribes?
Yeah, I got scribes. The scribes are members of a potential crafting profession. They can create scrolls or books. They have, that's a neat library. World history. The history of each server will be tracked and visible to players. That's neat. Libraries. At the village stage, the scientific node's unique building is the library. Players can use the library to access information, including, but not limited to, the following: history of narrative events and when they occurred, locations and last known quantity of gatherable resources, locations and inhabitants of new dungeons or points of interest that have spawned, runic power stones for armor, common armor, and weapon recipes, level 25 and under. Languages. Languages may refer to language-specific lexicons in the game from a lore and immersion standpoint. These do not have real player-to-player implications. Localization, internationalization of the game client for specific region. So we will need to be using the library to look up stuff. That's kind of cool.
Right. Shipbuilding.
Shipbuilding. Okay, shipbuilding is a crafting profession that is able to construct ship components based on blueprints that unlock capabilities that scale with their progression within the shipbuilding profession. Movement, durability, speed, turn rate, hit points, defensive, and damage abilities. They'll have weapon slots, aesthetic customization. Ship components can be sold to other players. You can have the base value of a hull. That hull might have certain placements that are available when it comes to utility slots and or weapon slots for the ship. Essentially, you're going to have that hull itself be augmented by constructibles via the shipbuilding profession. A player does not need to be a shipbuilder to construct ships. Players utilize the ship's components that are crafted by shipbuilders to upgrade their ships. Anyone with the right schematics, materials, and an advanced enough node may construct a ship. So you can have a ship, Brad.
So I was wrong then. Yeah.
Ships may only be crafted or upgraded in harbor crafting stations that are unlocked by the advancement of coastal nodes. You will not need to be a shipbuilder profession to construct ships. The shipbuilder profession, particularly, they have the ability to craft components of the ships which increase the ship's capabilities, defenses, speeds, turn rate, offense and defense. You know, all those types of things. And then they can sell those to other players. Players can choose which joints get populated with either utility or weaponry spots on a ship. So the contents say ship repair, harbor, naming, you can name your ship, emblems, mariner classes. That's interesting. So ship repair. Ships may be repaired, but it will be a lengthier process than in other games. Once repaired, ships can only be launched from land. Interesting. Harbors appear along the coast as a result of a node being developed on or near to the coast. Harbors will likely grant quests that are related to naval content. Harbors will provide a number of services, including upgrades to ships. So naming ships. Ships and buildings will be able to be named. Oh. And buildings?
Jenny.
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 Okay, what's going on, Forrest?
Jenny.
The custom name will appear as floating text when it is targeted. So emblems. Import of user-created image content is being considered. This was previously not under consideration. So we could create our own emblems, I guess.
That would be cool.
Yeah. An active GM staff will be monitoring user-created content. Users who upload inappropriate content will place their accounts in jeopardy.
I think
so no
BDO does that. Yeah.
I think I'll read this because this is interesting. I know previously we had spoken about not allowing custom user images in the game. However, I think we're leaning more now in the direction of allowing for custom user images. Absolutely. Well, what it will be is the fact that we're a subscription game, and if you want to jeopardize your account by doing the wrong thing with regards to custom users images, then by all means you may do so, and we'll have stringent practices in place to prevent that from actually being an issue. With regards to this UCC question, I think when you have an active GM team that you have directed to take care, take the product you're going to mitigate a lot of that functionality you don't want to see out of this custom image system. People who look to, let's say, meme the system are going to be met with the type of enforcement that they don't want to have on their account. And being a subscription-based product and being a risk versus reward, and maybe a more old school approach to character development and progression, I think they're going to take a significant risk in doing things that we don't want them to do, which will result in the jeopardy of their account. So I think this is not going to deter 100% of things. I don't think you can ever deter 100% of things unless we go away from custom images. But I think we can achieve some parity of essential enforcement versus infraction ratio that's going to be livable for everybody. So, So if you want to put something inappropriate on your ship,
Right.
you could lose your account. But I think it would be neat to be able to give others, their own very specific emblems,
Yeah.
which I think is cool. You could have like the exact thing that you wanted, like a giant dragon, right? If you don't like the ones that's in there. So the user interface will allow emblems, logos, and symbols to be designed in-game. So there'll be flags, they'll be on the flags, guild halls, mount barding, sails, shields, cloaks, and armor attachment.
You could have like a CGN logo on your cape.
I could. I just think it's funny because when we were talking about the header of your boat, you only had those 4 choices, and none of them you were very happy with, right?
Right.
So in this game, you could create exactly what you wanted, and I think there's going to be a lot of people that really would enjoy having that. So Mariner classes. Mariner classes, also referred to as boatsmanship classes, boatsman skills, or seamanship, contain different skill trees arranged in a similar manner to artisan classes. As a player gains experience in these different skills, they become more adept at using them. Gunnery, piloting, navigation, boat repair, ship components, defensive skills, and utility-based skills.
Nice.
Cool.
More on that later.
More on that later.
Just see siege weapons real quick. It's kind of
Quite
a lot
bit
of.
in there.
Let's see here. Well, half of it's apocalypse stuff. Yeah, we can probably get through real quick because, like I said, half of it's apocalypse.
Yeah. Okay, so siege weapons are able to be crafted or purchased from NPCs, trebuchets, and ballistas. Siege equipment will require materials, recipes, and craftsmanship.
Nice.
So summoning siege equipment. A summoning sheet is used to summon siege equipment to the player's position.
Summon the summons.
I should stop because I'm going to screw it up. Siege vehicles that can be player driven, handheld weapons. Multiple people may need to equip some items of siege equipment for it to function. So guns and gunpowder. Gunpowder weapons will not be present in Ashes of Creation. Oh. Weaponry such as potion launchers, siege weapons, and weapons used in naval combat are based on the arcane art. So no cannons, I guess.
Yep.
So the elements and the use of radiance and darkness. Server prime time, objective-based events such as node sieges, castle sieges, guild wars, and node wars will occur within a prime time window somewhere between 3 p.m. and 9 p.m. server time. This is subject to testing. Okay.
Yep.
Siege participation. Non-registered combatants are not permitted on the siege field in castle or node sieges. Developers are testing methods for restricting non-registered combatants from entering the battlefield.
Force
I think we
field.
went over all before, didn't we?
It was a while back, yeah.
Yeah.
Is when we were talking about nodes.
Yeah, and the sieges of nodes.
Yep.
Yeah, because there's the thing summoning golems. Yeah, we've done all this.
Yep. Yep.
I don't think we have to go through all of that.
Let's hit weaponsmithing if there's anything here. So weaponsmithing, of course, is just making weapons, as we know. So but I would like to just go through these real quick because these would practically be our weapons in game. So axes, one-handed or two-handed. Bows, clubs, crossbows, daggers, hammers, lances, maces, one or two-handed. Orbs, polearms, halberds, potion launchers, scepters, shields, spears, spellbooks, staves, swords, and rapiers, one or two-handed, and wands. So, looks like we'll have a nice little variety.
That's a lot of weapons.
Right.
But no guns. Gun-free game, I guess.
For now.
For now.
Alright, so I guess finish up recipes, and technically we've already did Artisan Mastery, but I'll take a look at it again while you finish up recipes.
Alright, recipes. Crafting in Ashes is recipe-based, not RNG-based. Within a crafting recipe, there are dials based on artisan specialization that are used to customized crafted items, such as increasing one stat at the expense of another, making an item more magical versus more physical.
Okay. So yeah, Artisan Mastery. So this is new. Players must choose a path in the Artisan skill tree for each character. Within each of the 3 parent Artisan paths, gathering, processing, crafting, there are different professions. A character may only ever master one of these parent paths, meaning you can only choose if you're going to be a gatherer, a processor, or a crafter. Players can dabble in all professions at a beginner's level before they decide to master a particular pathway. Choosing a specific path in the skill tree allows the player an opportunity to specialize in a certain area. This encourages players' interdependency, enhancing the artisan experience. It is possible to master multiple professions, but not all, within a parent artisan path, but this will be a long and labor-intensive feat requiring many resources. A player may only master a profession if they have achieved the artisan path mastery. Based on testing, it may be decided to limit profession mastery certificates to a capped value. Masteries aren't just about making an item. They grant many things such as titles, access to items, bargains, and quests. So that's pretty cool. Let's see, Artisan Supply Chain. So artisans within Ash's Creation must choose a path in their artisan skill tree. The interdependency established a supply chain from raw materials to finished product. Each stage of the chain may require caravans to transport goods from one artisan to another. Obtaining raw materials, using the gathering professions, by killing mobs and bosses, from deconstructing weapons or armor, by purchasing them from other players. Refining the raw materials with processing profession, crafting the finished product using its crafting recipe. Recipes are also obtained from boss drops. So they're definitely like if you're a crafter, you need to go and actually be social and go find a processor, and then you hope that processor has a gatherer buddy, like kind of make a little enterprise.
Yeah, to get things done, you're going to have to deal with 2 other people.
Yeah. So it says legendary items. There is a small RNG chance of looting rare and legendary items or crafting materials from mobs based on the level, status, and type of mob. This also applies to harvesting resources from a gathering profession. There is a much higher chance that materials and unique recipes are dropped that can be used to craft items of equitable value. Legendary equipment is only dropped by legendary world bosses, so that's good. Gatherers must have high-quality tools to gather rare resources. Processors must have high-tier processing buildings on their freehold to produce rare materials. Crafters may also satisfy certain prerequisites to craft legendary equipment. So what this is telling me is a lot of these things, especially the processor one, is like your choices are really going to pay. Like if you're like, I want to be processor, it's like, well, okay, well now your freehold isn't just going to be a little garden fairyland, that looks pretty. You're going to have to turn your house to a processing building. You're going to have to add some processing buildings on there. So even your professions are going to change how even your housing and stuff and how you use it, your land. So it's pretty cool. It's a lot to this game.
I don't think I'm going to be a gatherer anymore.
You're not going to be a gatherer? What are you going to be?
Well, because as a gatherer, you're going to have to deal with PvP and getting ganked for stuff.
No, I don't think it's going to be that bad. I mean, I think there's definitely going to be probably a turn on and a turn off of player. Well, they actually show that in the thing is you could turn off the ability to hit other players, or be hit by other players. So I don't think it's going to be an issue. I think it's going to be if you're camping an area, or let's say you walk in and somebody's trying to gather in this area, and then they're probably going to be like, hey, Missy, get out of here. I was here first.
I think I want to craft.
Well, then craft.
I want to make pretty dresses.
I guess you would be an armor smithing then.
I guess.
I guess at that point you'll be our armor smithing. Let's see. Discovery of legendary items will unlock further chapters of the lore. A legendary weapon is easily distinguished by its visual appearance. I cannot wait to see those. I think they've only shown like up to level 10 armor. Like, it's like 50 levels. Legendary items are not intended to be temporary. A notable exception to this is royal mounts. Let's see here. Timeline. Artisan classes are scheduled to be released in Alpha 1, so technically that's what we're in now. Alright. So that was the overview, practically, of it. So now we're going to move on to our video. So this is just, it's a 1.5-minute video, and it's just going to show gathering, processing, maybe a little crafting, but probably just mainly gathering. But here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Looks like Tanky McTankerface has found some fish. Might be a little bit hungry. Let's see if we can catch one. Come on. Come on. Oh, I think we got one. We got one. We're pulling it in. Oh, yeah. What do we got? Oh, a red snapper. That's kind of cool. See if we can go over here. Uh-oh. Got a raptor. A raptor.
Yeah, I think that combat looks pretty awesome.
An essence?
Yeah.
That was smooth.
Oh, a little plant. Grab some of this stuff.
It's like cabbage.
Calitsigia septum. Oh, I missed. Sad. If I have that range. Everything's there. Oh, baby raptors.
Oh, there you go. A little bit of, just a little video. I tried looking to see if there's anything else on YouTube. I didn't really see too much of it. All right, guys, we're going to start with gathering here. Let's see. Like I said, there's going to be some of these that are just repeats, but we will go through them. So, gathering. Is one of the artisan classes in Ash's creation. Gathering resources are discovered by trial and error and by learning their visuals. Gathering requires the creation and use of tools. Gathering within a node zone of influence will contribute to experience growth. Certain low-level gatherables will have a tier progression into higher-level crafting. As we said before, gathering in this game will be fishing, herbalism, lumberjacking, mining, and taming. We've already went over artisan mastery. So resources. So gatherable resources, raw materials, harvestables occur in locations where you would expect them to be organically. Some resources will be one-time gatherables that will be randomly respawn at a different location once collected. Other resources will exist as a cluster, also known as a vein gatherables. These will last until the full resource is depleted. So you've pretty much seen those in World of Warcraft, but normally or maybe even BDO, but it was a large thing, and then everyone was like, hitting at it, and then you would, until it was completely gone, it would still be there, kind of thing. So let's see. There will be moving resources such as herds of animals that are consistently moving around the world. Once a resource is depleted from one location, of course, it will respawn at other locations. Resource spawns is on a cooldown basis. Resources won't be locked into the node system. Some unique resources may be monsters in disguise or have monsters defending them. So there's probably like a mine full of gold. Is probably going to be a bunch of orcs, goblins like guarding it. So artisan.
That cabbage may turn into a cabbage monster.
Hey, you never know. The shrooms could be protecting it. Artisan tools. So gathering artisan classes require the creation and use of harvesting tools that enable the gathering of resources. Yes. Progression in the gathering artisan class unlocks higher level harvesting tools that enable gathering of higher level resources. I feel like I just read that. Yes, it's right there. Yeah. Repeating itself. Okay. A gather at maximum proficiency will unlock master tool sets that will grant them access to highest quality gatherables. Tools will be durable and tool lifespans. So pretty much, yeah, your tools, if you use them a lot, then they'll be worn down. You can repair them, or you'll just have to make a whole new tool. So a lot of that's, I guess BDO, but a lot of it also sounds like ARC too. Like if you make, you're using a pick and then it breaks, it's like you just have to make a new pick. Let's see. Yeah, the amounts of uses of gathering tools increases as the gatherer becomes more proficient in the gathering artisan tree. Tools may become non-repairable, requiring recrafting. Artisans will not need to rely on other trees in order to make their tools. Processing requires blueprints for the construction of buildings that are needed to process resources. Crafting requires the acquisition of recipes in order to craft items. So lists of tools, so fishing poles, mining picks, scythes. So, literally. I'm surprised there's not like rope for taming. You know what I mean?
Maybe you use the fishing pole.
Maybe.
Maybe
Get over here.
fishing wire.
Right. Let's see. Resource quality. Resources will have different levels of quality for the same resource type. This is somewhat similar to Star Wars Galaxies. Gatherers who are more advanced in their artisan tree will unlock higher level harvesting tools that have a greater chance of collecting higher quality resources or proccing a greater quantity. Resource extractors are potential constructions that can collect resources over time. Available to node citizens who own a freehold near a resource center. Requires several people to construct. Moving resources from an extractor will likely require a caravan. So lists of resources: chickens, cows, crops, eggs, fish, herbs, livestock, lumber, milk, mushrooms, or potatoes and wheat. Gathering skills, of course, harvest. Loot tagging. So this was one thing that we were actually talking about a while back, but even Missy, we were talking about this. So looting rights. So the first party to attain a tag will require approximately 40% or more of the total DPS to be granted looting rights. Parties who do not have a first tag are required to do more than approximately 60% of the total DPS to qualify for looting rights. So gatherers may be able to may have the ability to spoil a boss's loot. So I think what I'm taking for that is you're not going to be just, I'm going to throw one little dot and then I get loot on that boss. Like with WoW, it's like, corruption, and then I've tagged it and then it dies like within a second. So you definitely will not be able to do that in this game. Let's see here. Artisan supply chain. Artisans within Ashes Creation may choose a path. We talked about all that. So let's see here. Each stage of the chain may require caravans to transfer goods from one artisan to another. So obtaining raw materials, of course, gathering profession, killing mobs, destruction of weapons and that, so disenchanting practically, or purchasing from other players, refining raw materials and process professions. Crafting the finished product using a crafting recipe. Recipes will be obtained from boss drops. Let's see here. Processing is one of the artisan. Geez, yes. Processing involves refining of raw materials obtained from gathering and item deconstruction. Processing requires blueprints for the construction of buildings that are needed to process resources. Like I said, you're probably going to turn if you're really truly getting into crafting in this game. Your freehold, aka player housing, is probably going to be just like warehouses. You know, it'll just be one big farm. You know, so. Yeah, so I guess choose wisely on what you're really going to concentrate on this game. Like, are you just going to go out there and be killing monsters and doing the content, or are you going to just be a crafter? Or if you're going to try to do both. So, you know, or me, I'm just going to be breeding bears. So, Missy will be making dresses. She'll just be the dress lady. So, yeah.
I'll be making dresses for your bears.
Yeah.
Dress up all your bears.
Right. Let's see. Crafting is one of the artisan classes, and that, as we know, is a driving force for the game economy. Crafting requires the acquisition of recipes in order to craft items, of course. Crafting stations are located on freeholds or within nodes. Higher tier crafting stations are unlocked with node progression. There will not be a labor energy in the game in Ashes of Creation, so not like BDO with energy and all that stuff. So here's like a little on the freehold. So I guess Missy, if she was doing, well, this kind of looks like a processing building. So they don't look that big, so they won't like. So you could probably have like a corner of like your freehold be a garden, and the other corner could be like your smelting, you know, area. Your
Processing and crafting.
Yeah. So let's see. So we're done with gathering. So I guess Missy, if you want to do processing, looks like a lot of it's going to be repeat, but we'll skip over that part.
Okay. So processing involves the refining of raw materials obtained from gathering and item deconstruction. Processing requires blueprints for the construction of buildings that are needed to process resources. Buildings can be placed on a freehold to process those resources. So the processing professions: husbandry, animal husbandry, and smelting.
Surprised they don't have like what was it, milling in World of Warcraft, where you would mill the flowers for inscription. Surprised they don't have that in here yet.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe they're just not breaking it down completely. You know what I mean? Maybe you will have to mill it somehow. And you might be like a skill on your skill bar, you know, like it is in World of Warcraft.
Yeah.
That if you're a processor, that's one of the skills that you have.
Right.
Because you have all sorts of other things to process, not just that, right? So you'll probably get all those when you are that profession.
Probably.
I would think. Yeah. So we went through artisan mastery.
Yep. Raw materials, went through that.
Yep.
Quality, went through that.
We went through processed materials.
Eggs, ingots, milk,
Artisan tools.
Yeah, we went through that one. Supply chain, went through that one.
Yep.
Gathering and crafting. Those are all self-explanatory.
And the freehold buildings we went through.
Yeah, so blacksmith forges, freehold farms, guild halls, homesteads, inns, lumber yards. Yeah.
Yep, we did all that. Oh well, that was good. I'm glad we got through that category.
Right. Yep.
So I guess I'll take on crafting.
Do it up. Probably the same.
Yep. Thanks, Brad.
You're welcome.
Give me the one where I have nothing to say. Yeah, we did that. So the crafting profession. Yep. That went through. Recipes we went through, did we not? Yep.
Yep. Now obtaining recipes, I think that one's new.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think we did. I was going to say, we didn't go through that. Okay, recipes are found in the world for the most part. They drop from monsters, completing quest lines, becoming may unlock specific node-related recipes, progression within a social organization, such as the Thieves Guild or Scholars Academy, killing a legendary boss, gaining a title, by constructing certain buildings on freehold, based on status within a religious organization or church, deconstructing, disassembling rare item drops from bosses can yield recipes that can be used to replicate that item. Well, that's interesting. There may be a royalty system where players can license recipes to other players for a certain amount of time and collect royalties.
Like,
so I guess that's if you get like a super rare recipe.
Right. It's like, I know how to make some good peach cobbler. Do you want the recipe for it?
You go pay. Pay me for that peach cobbler recipe. So race or class locked.
Yeah.
Crafting will not be race or class locked. Crafting mechanic.
Yeah, all this is new so far.
The crafting mechanics is new?
Yeah, these are newer, yeah.
I thought we did say they could be located on freeholds. But we can go through them again. Players are able to specialize in focused crafting branches. There are going to be different tiers of crafting stations that represent the quality of the items being crafted. Crafting stations can be located on freeholds or within nodes. Certain crafting stations relate to specific nodes, areas, or buildings. I guess we could do the question.
Yeah.
Question, can crafting stations be mobilized, moved, and can they be placed anywhere in the world? So the answer is it depends on the crafting station. There are going to be different tiers of crafting stations that represent, the quality of item you're looking to create within that specific profession. There's going to be crafting stations that can be utilized by players within their freeholds, and then crafting stations that are resigned only to the development of particular nodes, within particular areas or particular buildings. There's a wide variety of those things to kind of make it a more dynamic experience and kind of something that caveat how players decide to build the world and what the value of those things are. They're also going to have skill-based crafting mechanics have been considered and may be a part of the final design. Skill-based crafting, okay. So crafting materials. Materials are obtained in the following ways. You can process raw materials. They're from wool brass drops and item deconstruction. I think we went through that.
Yeah.
Okay, crafted items. Crafted items will be on par with best in slot items. Highest tier items will be a combo of both crafted and boss dropped. Crafters will be able to assign different skills and abilities and stats on gear. Master crafters will be able to influence several, but not all, stats on their crafted items. The rarity of the items will be commensurate with the effort required to gather, process, and craft the items. Stats on crafted items will vary based on the item's rarity. Okay, so not all the stats can be changed. So crafters are able to influence what their crafted items will look like. At the moment, harnessing corruption to warp items into demonic or decayed things is not on the cards.
Yeah, actually, we have.
We went through that.
Yeah, we went through this.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Yeah, skill and stats on gear. Yeah, we've already looked at that. Relics is new though.
Relics are achievements for a node that unlock over time. They allow node citizens to craft certain legendary items and progress in certain legendary quest lines. Relics include the 4 ancient artifacts of Vera that were originally discovered by King Atrax in his pursuit for the power of the Essence. We've gone through this before, too, of its relics.
Yeah, it was a while back, but yeah.
Yeah, the golden chalice, the crown, the sword, and the staff. Yeah, that's all lore. So that's the
Supply
relics that are
chain.
placed in the node reliquary. Yeah.
Upgrading items. That one's new.
Where's upgrading items?
It's down a little bit more. Underneath
Oh, okay.
processing, yeah.
You went way down.
Yep.
Okay, so upgrading items. There are 2 types of enchantments for items, vertical and horizontal. Vertical enchantments are a power progression for a crafted item. More damage or mitigations, added effects or bonuses. Vertical enhancements include risk. There isn't RNG in crafting, but there may be a small amount of RNG in enchanting. Over-enchanting items comes with a potential risk that the item decays or is destroyed if a safety margin is exceeded. The system is subject to testing.
Sounds like like
BDO.
well, it sounds like over. It sounds like. I mean, yes, you have that, but I think also, kind of over melding, like in Final Fantasy 14, like you'll have 3 slots that are 100%, but you have 2 more technically that you can meld, but it's like, 10% success rate, and then your last one is like 2% success rate. So you could just be spending all this money, but if you're lucky enough, you get 5 slots. Instead of just 3, you get 5 with materia, so it makes you a lot more powerful. So, risk and reward.
Don't like that. BDO.
No,
so much
BDO is
breaking
mean.
and ruining. Yeah, I don't like that system, to be honest.
Well, I mean, well, BDO you don't
lost money.
Well, BDO you have the the things, the upgrade, but then you do have those items. Well, mainly just the accessories, particular accessories. And I guess all accessories, where you have to sacrifice one accessory to that one, and if it doesn't, then you practically you lose both. But like I said, that's also why silver is the name of the game in that game. So
yeah. So that's for vertical enhancements, but then there's horizontal enchantments are more situational. For example, I'd like my sword to do force damage instead of holy damage because the monsters I tend to fight are incorporeal. This doesn't make the item more powerful, but instead more applicable to different situations, and less so to others. This type of enchanting assumes no risk, just time and effort. Enchanting services are sold at player stalls.
See, those player stalls things, though, that means that isn't currently...
That's the flea market.
Well, I'm just saying, currently, you have to go to the town, and I can see this because they're D&D nerds, that you have to go to the town and be like, today I'm going into that cave, so I need to make sure, and it's an ice cave, so I need to make sure that my weapon and armor is like fire. So you have to go to the town, enchant it with fire, and you go to that cave, and then you're like, oh crap, it's a lava cave. So you have to go back to the town.
What happens, because you're in your node, you're in your town, and say you go to that player stall, and that player isn't online.
No, then you have to look for another one.
But where?
I don't know. I guess you go to Walmart.
Well, that's within your town. You have
to go to another town?
Yeah, and find a player who's actually online. That's going to kind of suck a bit.
Yeah, who knows? So, repairing items. So, simply put on this one, guys, is your items won't be repaired by gold. Your items are going to be repaired by the materials that were used to make that item. So, If gold was used to craft your sword, you're going to need gold to repair your sword. Easily put.
By another player.
Yep. Or yourself if you are that crafter. Just depends if you're that crafter.
Yeah.
Escrow system is planned to prevent grieving in the crafting system. We're going to have a UI. You're going to put the resources in, or they're going to put the resources in. It'll be like an escrow system. Then once blank the job is complete, you'll get the item. They'll get the money. So that's pretty cool. Certificates to create a caravan are issued by certain NPCs within nodes or at certain points of interest in the world. These certificates are comprised of multiple components: axles, armor rating, damage mitigation, capacity, chassis, hit points, maneuverability, number of hired NPC guards, speed, steeds, wheels. Caravan components obtained from crafters will have stats according to the skill of each artisan. Mounts bred through animal husbandry profession can be applied as certificates towards the construction of caravans. Already talked about shipbuilding and backpacks. We did talk about backpacks a long time ago, but backpacks you guys could actually customize, as you can see right here. So you can add all these different little layers and this bag and this and this and this. So it's kind of like a little cosmetic thing. But it also adds to like inventory and all that stuff. So, and that's it as far as crafting, and that is actually it as far as, our Ashes of Creation talk tonight. So I guess in recap, what did you like, Missy? What didn't you like?
Well, it's just, I don't know how long it's going to take for us to get from Metropolis to Metropolis, because the Metropolis is the one that has all the stalls.
Mm-hmm.
So if you have to get something repaired or you want enchantments done, depending on what time you're playing, are those players going to be online to do that? Are there going to be multiple places you can get that done within your Metropolis? I don't know.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's not going
could
to
be
just be
a hindrance.
player based. It'll be, and who's to say? Because technically, in ESO you would have guild vendors, and the guild would put up items on there. So you're looking for an enchant, right? That player is gone, but all of his enchants are still on there to be sold, and then he just collects the money through the mail from whatever you buy from him. He doesn't need to physically be there, because to be honest, they would be very dumb to be like, you need to be at your stall to sell stuff, and that's the only time you could sell stuff is being at your stall. So I would say that player rents that space, puts up their 20 items,
They make enchantments and
Yes.
then just sell them.
And
like,
just
kind
sell
of
them at their
like
stall.
in WoW, at the auction
Yeah.
house, right? You get the
Uh-huh.
enchantment scroll.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Because that would make sense. It seems like, you're going to have to talk to people, but hopefully that's the same way with, the crafting and all of that too.
Yeah. I mean, you might
Processing.
run into the actual player, just, he's
Yeah.
there at the stall uploading more stuff on there. Because, I mean, I think they also said they're going to probably work that to being online or a mobile app. So you could probably collect money and all that other stuff from there.
See, reading all of this too, this seems very, very labor intensive.
Oh, yeah. This whole game is going to be very labor intensive, to be quite honest. It's going to be one of those. It's just one of those things where you log in. It's always going to be one of those things like if you don't have enough time to play, like to really truly play this game, like and I know
You
there.
should be playing.
Yeah, I mean it's. Sadly, it's one of those things where, you can play at your pace, are you always going to be...
for a few days you could come back to, and then your house is destroyed and you've lost a lot of your stuff.
Exactly. Yeah, I think
You
there'll
know?
there'll be a lot of ebb and flow. There'll be a lot of, like you said, it's a living world, right? It's just, in that sense. So, yeah, me personally, I like what I'm seeing from the professions. I think it'll be a really good profession system. I think it'll be. I think a lot of people who like professions will really enjoy it. Like if Poto were to play, he could really just play the game to be a profession guy. I think and what's cool is even though you're doing professions like for yourself, your experience is probably being funneled into that node, which is also increasing it too. And you can make a lot of gold too. So,
Oh yeah.
so
Plus, you have to do all the other stuff to get your recipes and everything too. So you have
Mhm.
to
Oh yeah.
do quests and everything. So that pretty much is probably what you do.
Yeah.
Your end game is your crafting,
Oh,
but
yeah.
you're still playing the game, but you're looking for places in order to get recipes.
Exactly.